Hello and welcome to your review video number 1. This is the review for the statistics unit. So I took a look at your responses from the Got It Kinda Nope quiz, and the first thing that came up was that there was just a big fat nope, nope, nope for pretty much everything in Excel. So I'm going to cover pretty much everything you had questions about with the exception of conditional formatting. The information on conditional formatting can be found in the folder Intro to Excel. So that will give you conditional formatting. So let's take a look at some basic math that I can do in my Excel spreadsheet. So you guys had questions about mean and standard deviation. And while we're here, I'll show you a few more fun tricks. So what we're looking at here is something really similar to what you had in class. This set of data is talking about a change in blood pressure. I changed it a little bit just because my copying and pasting was off, but you could do this on any set of data. So for the change, it's the change in, right? We want to know the change in their blood pressure pre and post this aerobic workout, right? So I'm going to want the value to be negative if they went down in their blood pressure. That's a good thing, right? But I want it to be negative for going down. And I want it to be positive for when it went up, right? For when the blood pressure rose. So here's what I'm going to do. And I do this all the time when I'm doing a change in anything scientific, right? We usually do it as final minus initial, right? Our final value minus our initial value. Our final value is going to be our post over here. So I'm going to set this, getting ahead of myself here. So if I want my final value minus my initial value, I'm going to go into this column where it says change. And instead of doing all that subtraction one by one, I'm going to make Excel do it for me. So I'm going to put equal sign, and I'm going to click on the cell that corresponds to my final value. There it is. Then I'm going to subtract, because it's final minus initial, my initial value. I press enter, and all of a sudden I have a change, right? This is exactly what I wanted. It's a positive number because that number increased. Now, I don't want to have to punch that in every single time for all of these data points, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to find my cell. I know that the formula lives here, and I'm going to tell Excel that I want that formula applied all the way down the list. And I tell Excel to do that by hovering over this formula, going until my little cross turns black, and then I just drag that all the way down. And now I've got exactly what I want. I have that calculation for everything in the row. Okay, so let's move that over. Awesome. So now it's going to say, what is your mean? Right? And you guys all had questions on this on the Got It Kinda Nope. I know that my mean is the same as my average. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in mean and standard deviation, and I want to get that information right below my set of data, right? I don't need the mean of the pre and the mean of the post. I'm really just curious about the change right now. So to get that mean or that average, I'm going to click on the cell that's underneath my data, and I'm going to type in the equal sign. Then there are a few different ways I can do this. I can either go up here and scroll through to find my formula and click average, right? Highlight all of those cells. Those are the ones I want an average of. And click enter. Somehow it puts standard deviation in there. So mean equals my average, and I want the average of all of these numbers. I press enter, and there it is. There's my average. Now, let's say that I'm sitting in my Excel spreadsheet and it doesn't look like this, and I'm freaking out a little bit because I don't see the same screen that's up on here, right? All right. In that case, right, like if you're using a Mac, I'm just going to show you an alternative way to do it. You can do, again, the same cell, you can do equal, and just start typing the word average. And then there, it's going to come up as an option. So I'm going to click it. And now I have an open parentheses. It's saying, okay, what would you like the average of? I'm going to highlight these cells. I want the average of these numbers. I have to close the parentheses in order for it to stick. So parentheses close, press enter, there's my average, and it's the same value. Okay, now on to my standard deviation. Okay, this involves a couple of extra steps. So let's go to my home screen so that we can all navigate there together, right? So here's my home screen. Hopefully when you click home, it looks similar to this, right? Mac people, I don't know, but hopefully it looks similar to this. So for standard deviation, I'm setting it up the same way as my mean, right? So I want it right underneath my data set. Now, I want the standard deviation of all of these numbers for my change. You want to make sure that you don't include the mean in your standard deviation. You don't want that number in there. You want the numbers that correspond to your results. So for standard deviation, I'm going to go up to formulas. And I'm going to click on the orange one that says more functions. Then I'm going to see the first one that pops up is statistical. Yay, that's what we're doing. Then I'm going to scroll through here. Oh, my face is in the way. Sorry. What? Where's my face? There it is. There I go. Right? So I'm going to click on this, statistical. I see this huge thing. I am going to click on where it says standard deviation dot S. It's the sample standard deviation. It's the only one you're responsible for. So stdev.s. Click it. And now, once again, it's saying, okay, what do you want the standard deviation of? These numbers. Click and drag to highlight, press enter, and there you go, you have your standard deviation. Okay, I want you to make sure that you're practicing this skill in Excel because it's super, super important. We've gone over this a few times, and if you need to, just go over it again and again and again. There are a few videos on Excel. Hopefully you found this helpful and enjoy making spreadsheets, because who doesn't?